I'm using a throwaway account for this because things are still playing out, and honestly, I just need to get it off my chest. I'm 29, my girlfriend Emma is 26, and we've been together for 2 years now. About 8 months ago, we took the leap and moved in together into this shiny 2-bedroom apartment downtown. The kind of place that looks great on Instagram, close to both our jobs, but also the kind of place neither of us could dream of affording alone. Rent's $2,400 a month, and that's before you even get to utilities, parking, and everything else that comes with living in the city. I work as a software engineer, steady paycheck, about $85,000 a year. Emma works as a marketing coordinator at a small firm, pulling in around $38,000. When we started planning the move, I suggested splitting things proportionally, me paying 65%, her covering 35%. It seemed fair, but Emma, she wasn't having it. She wanted everything split straight down the middle. No special treatment, no sense of owing me anything. She wanted equality in the truest sense of the word. I respected that, even though I knew $1,200 a month would eat nearly 40% of her take-home pay. I warned her it would be tight, but she stood her ground, and I let her. For the first 6 months, it worked. Bills were paid, routines were set, and the apartment felt alive with us in it. She sometimes stressed about money, but she never asked for help, and I never forced it. I figured if she needed me, she'd say something. But about 2 months ago, things shifted. Emma started going out more, late nights, dressed up, heading out the door like clockwork. Tuesdays and Fridays, every week. And when I'd casually ask where she was off to, she'd wave it off with vague answers. Meeting some friends, or just going downtown. If I press a little, ask which friends or where exactly, she'd bristle. Does it matter? She'd snap. Or, I'll tell you when I get back. At first, I didn't think much of it. Maybe she was planning a surprise. Maybe she just needed space. But it became a pattern. Every week, the same thing. She'd come home past midnight, smelling like alcohol, and sometimes cigarettes, even though she doesn't smoke. And then there was her phone. Emma had never been secretive with it before. We used to grab each other's phones to look things up, order food, whatever. But suddenly, she was guarding it like a state secret, face down on the table. Carried with her into the bathroom, jumping when it buzzed. 3 weeks ago, I finally decided to bring it up. She was in the bathroom, doing her makeup before another one of her mystery nights out. I knocked gently. Hey, can we talk for a minute? She sighed. I'm getting ready. Can it wait? It'll just take a second, I said. She opened the door, annoyed, mascara wand in hand. What's up? I tried to keep my voice calm, casual. I've noticed you've been going out more lately. Just wanted to check if everything's okay. You seem stressed. And, well, you're being kind of secretive about where you're going. Her face hardened instantly. Secretive? I'm not being secretive. I held my ground. I'm not accusing you of anything. I just like to know where you are, for safety reasons, if nothing else. And that's when she dropped it, the line that cracked everything open. I don't need to tell you where I go at night. I'm an adult. I can go wherever I want without reporting to you. The words hit me like a slap. Cold, dismissive, final. I tried to steady myself. I'm not asking you to report to me. I care about you. That's all. But she wasn't done. This is exactly what I was afraid of when we moved in together. You trying to control me. Acting like you own me just because we live under the same roof. I shook my head. Emma, that's not what this is about. If you want to go out, fine. But why can't you just tell me where you're going? She turned back to the mirror, slipping in her earrings like the conversation was over. Because I don't have to. We're not married. You're not my father. I don't need to check in with you about every little thing I do. And there it was. The moment I realized I wasn't being seen as a partner anymore, but as some overbearing figure she had to push against. I stood there silent, letting her words hang between us. Finally, I said quietly, You're right. You don't have to tell me anything. She froze for just a second, surprised. Then she grabbed her purse. Thank you. I'll see you later. When the door shut behind her, I sank onto the couch. My mind was racing. In every relationship I'd ever had, telling each other where we were going wasn't about control. It was just part of being together, a way of saying, hey, I care enough to let you know where I'll be. But now, she had turned that simple courtesy into a battlefield, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something had already shifted between us, something I wasn't going to be able to fix with words. I'd never thought much about it before, but it hit me one night while I was sitting on the couch, staring at the glow of her credit card charges on my laptop. Drinks at rooftop bars, late-night Ubers, dinners at places that cost more than we ever spent together. All while she was complaining she couldn't afford to go out with our mutual friends, or settling for the cheapest groceries at the store. Something didn't add up. She was living a lifestyle she couldn't afford, and somehow I was the one quietly making it possible. And that's when the thought landed. If Emma wanted to live like a single person when it came to accountability, then maybe she should live like a single person when it came to money too. Respect, after all, was supposed to go both ways. I sat with that realization for days, looked at apartments, ran numbers in my head. She could manage a smaller one-bedroom for $1,400 to $1,600. Tight, yes, but doable. Me? I could handle our place alone if I wanted, or downsize and save a pile of cash. Either way, I'd be better off than splitting 50-50 with someone who was drowning and keeping secrets on top of it. So I made a plan. Nothing cruel, nothing vindictive, just fair. When the lease ended, I'd give her notice. 2 months to figure it out. She could find a roommate, a cheaper place, or another solution. But I was done funding a lifestyle that left me feeling more like an ATM than a partner. The next Tuesday, she was in the bedroom, sliding into a dress I'd never even seen before. I leaned against the doorframe and said quietly, "Hey, can we talk for a minute?" She didn't turn, just glanced at me through the mirror. "I'm almost ready to go. This won't take long." She sighed, capping her lipstick. "What is it?" "I wanted to let you know I've decided not to renew our lease when it's up in December." That made her spin around, her face confused, then almost alarmed. "What? Why?" I kept my voice steady. "I've been thinking about what you said last week, about independence, about not needing to tell me where you go. And you're right, you don't owe me explanations. But if you want that kind of independence, then it doesn't make sense for us to be financially tied together." Her eyes flickered, that first flash of worry. "What does that mean?" "It means you should have the freedom to live your life however you want without worrying about me or our shared expenses. So I'm going to find my own place. You can decide what you want to do about this apartment." She stared at me for a long moment. "You're breaking up with me?" I shook my head. "No, I'm saying we should live separately. If you want to keep dating, we can, but sharing an apartment doesn't make sense when we're not really sharing our lives." Her voice cracked. "But I can't afford this place on my own." Panic, raw and real, crept in, the kind I'd never heard from her before. "I know," I said gently. "That's why I'm giving you 2 months' notice. You'll have time. Find a roommate or a place that fits your budget. There are options." She stood there, quiet, the weight of it sinking in. Finally, she whispered, "This is because I wouldn't tell you where I go at night." I met her eyes. "This is because you made it clear you wanted independence. And I respect that. I just think your living situation should match your lifestyle choices." She opened her mouth. "That's not what I meant." But before she could finish, her phone buzzed. Her eyes flicked down, and whatever she saw on that screen reminded her exactly where she was supposed to be going. When she slipped on her heels that night and said, "I have to go. We'll talk when I get back," I just nodded. "Sure. Have a good night." And strangely, I felt lighter as the door shut behind her. It wasn't anger. It wasn't spite. It was relief. For the first time, I'd spoken the truth out loud. If she wanted to live like a single person, then she could live like a single person. No harm, no foul. The next morning, she tried to circle back. But I could tell her heart wasn't in it. Her eyes kept flicking down to her phone, her fingers tapping the screen like whatever was waiting for her there mattered more than my words. I laid out my reasoning, but she just nodded absently, murmuring, We'll figure out later. And that became the rhythm of the week. Half conversations, hollow reassurances, her attention tethered to the glow of her screen. Tuesday and Friday nights, still the same, still gone, still secrets tucked into the palm of her hand, stepping outside to whisper on calls, pacing the balcony when texts came through. Meanwhile, I quietly started looking for a place of my own, something close to work, something that wouldn't feel like a financial leash around my neck. And when I found a one-bedroom, nicer than what we had, better amenities, for $100 cheaper than my current share, I didn't hesitate. I applied, I got approved, and just like that, my exit door swung open. 2 weeks after that first conversation, I told her, I found a place. I'll be moving out at the end of November. I even gave her a full month's notice to make her own plans. That was the first time reality seemed to hit her. She actually looked up from her phone. Wait, you're serious? Of course I'm serious, I said. Her brow furrowed. I thought you were just trying to make a point. I thought you'd change your mind. Why would I change my mind? I asked. You made it clear you want independence. I'm giving it to you. Her defenses shifted. She softened. Look, maybe I was a little harsh about not telling you where I go. I just felt like you were being possessive. I shook my head. I wasn't being possessive. But it doesn't matter now. You drew a boundary, and I respect it. I just think our living situation should reflect that boundary. She leaned in, almost pleading. But what if I'm okay telling you now? I didn't miss a beat. Then tell me where you went last Friday. Her mouth opened. She hesitated. And then the words came out, soft and hollow. It's complicated. I nodded. That's what I thought. There was no anger in my voice, just a quiet resignation. Emma, you have every right to keep your activities private. I'm not asking you to change. I'm saying if that's a life you want, then it's a life you should live independently. The conversation ended there, but I could see it. The gears grinding in her mind, the panic starting to seep through the cracks. And over the next few days, she changed. She was suddenly attentive at home, asking about my day, reaching for my hand, trying to stitch something back together. But the pattern didn't stop. Tuesdays and Fridays, she was still gone, still vague, still hiding, until one Tuesday, something slipped. She answered a call in the bedroom. I couldn't hear the words, but I could hear the tone, frustrated, upset. When she emerged, her face looked rattled. I have to cancel tonight, she said quickly, shoving her phone into her purse. Everything okay? I asked. Yeah, just my friend had something come up. But her eyes betrayed her. Nervous, uneasy. The truth revealed itself the next morning. She called me from a coffee shop, voice low, embarrassed. Her card had been declined for a $5 latte. Can you transfer me $20? I'll pay you back Friday when I get paid, she whispered. I sent the money, but the thought wouldn't leave me alone. If she was broke enough to have her card declined for coffee, then how was she funding all those nights out? The answer came sharp and clear. Credit. She'd been living on credit. And now, the limits were catching up with her. That night, I sat her down. Enough waiting, enough avoiding. Hey, can we talk about the apartment situation? She nodded, but her shoulders sagged with exhaustion. I'm wondering if you've made progress. Finding a roommate or a cheaper place? We've only got a few weeks. Emma buried her face in her hands. I can't afford this place without you. And no one wants to split it. It's too expensive. What about finding a cheaper place? I asked. She shook her head. I've looked. The ones I can afford are dumps or way out in the suburbs. I'd spend hours commuting. What about a roommate in a cheaper place? She let out a breath. I've tried. No one wants to live with someone they don't know. My friends all have their own situations, or they can't afford even the cheap places. I watched her crumble under the weight of it. Stress etched into her face. And finally, I asked, quietly but firmly, Emma, what's going on with your finances? Last week, your card was declined for coffee. She was silent for a long beat, then exhaled. I've been using my credit cards more than I should. Rent's hard for me to manage. And I've had extra expenses lately. I tilted my head. What kind of extra expenses? She hesitated, then muttered, just going out and stuff. I looked at her. The nights you won't tell me about? She lowered her eyes. Yes. I leaned back, letting the weight of it all sink in. Emma, you're going into debt to fund nights you won't explain to me, while insisting you don't need to communicate about your life. Do you see how that doesn't make sense? For weeks, Emma had been distant, but that night something cracked open. She looked at me, eyes wet, and finally said the words I'd been dreading. There's this guy at work. And there it was, the truth I'd been circling, but hoping I was wrong about. I asked her carefully, steadying my voice. What about him? She hesitated, then admitted, he's been showing interest in me, taking me out to nice places, really nice places, the kind I could never afford on my own. My chest tightened. Tuesday and Friday nights, it all clicked. Those nights you disappeared? Her voice dropped to a whisper. Yes. It was a strange cocktail of feelings, vindication and heartbreak mixing together. I had known something was off, but hearing it confirmed still cut deep. So you've been dating him? No. She shot back quickly, panicked. It's not dating. We're not sleeping together. He just invites me and I go. He pays. I shook my head. Emma, that's dating. She stayed silent, and when I asked if she was attracted to him, the silence grew louder. That was answer enough. I pressed again. Does he know about me? Her reply was almost rehearsed. I told him I have a boyfriend, but that we're having problems. Problems? I asked, my voice low, steady. Are we having problems? And that's when she broke. The tears came. She admitted she didn't know what she wanted. That Alex, the man from work, was exciting, successful, someone who showed her a world she'd never had before. But in the same breath, she insisted she loved me. I think I love you. I'm just confused. I sat there, calm in a way that surprised even me, because the mystery was finally solved. Emma had been living a double life. Tuesday and Friday nights spent with Alex, experiencing luxury on his dime, only to come home to the apartment I helped pay for, the stability I gave her. So I laid it out plainly. Let me get this straight. You've been going on dates with him, letting him spend money on you, while I pay for your bills. And when I tried to talk about it, you told me I was controlling, that you didn't owe me any explanation. That about right. She sobbed. It's not like that. Then what is it like? I asked. She had no answer, just more tears. Emma, I said quietly, you've been emotionally cheating for months, and every time I reach for honesty, you push me away. She whispered, I know, I messed up. Then came the plea. She wanted to fix it. She swore she'd cut Alex off, that she'd be transparent, that we could still work things out. But I had to ask, why now? Why suddenly? Her reason cracked the last bit of hope I had. Because I realize what I have with you is real. Alex is just fantasy. With you, it's real life. I couldn't help but point out, real life you can't afford. Real life I've been paying for. She winced, then whispered, maybe we could work something out. Maybe you could pay more of the rent. I could pay less. I stared at her. So, your plan to fix our relationship is for me to subsidize your lifestyle even more than I already do? Her silence was answer enough. And that's when it hit me. She hadn't fought to keep me. She was fighting to keep the safety net I provided. I told her the truth. Emma, you already lost me. You lost me when you chose someone else and lied about it. You lost me when you made me the villain for wanting the most basic communication. You lost me when you went into debt chasing another man's world while letting me foot the bill for yours. Her promises tumbled out desperately. Therapy, transparency, swearing off Alex forever. But it was too late. The damage wasn't just Alex. It was the pattern, the choices, the way she twisted my concerns into accusations until I questioned myself. And the final straw, when I told her I was moving out, she hadn't been devastated about losing me. She had been terrified about losing her financial stability. In that moment, it all became clear. She wasn't fighting for love. She was fighting for rent. 2 weeks before I was set to move out, Emma made one last attempt. She walked in with flowers in her hands and a folded letter, her handwriting running shaky across the page. She said she told Alex it was over, that she finally understood what she'd done, using him as an escape hatch, and me as her safety net. She admitted she'd been scared of commitment, scared that if she got too comfortable with me, she'd lose herself. So she kept one foot out the door, just in case. Just in case I turned out to be too controlling, too demanding, too much. I nodded, piecing it together. So you use me for stability and him for excitement. She looked down. I guess so, but I realize now I was wrong. I want to be fully committed. To you, to us. But it was too late. I told her the truth. Emma, you don't get to be fully committed now. You already showed me how you handle comfort. You keep backup plans. You keep escape routes. She cried, insisted she'd learned, that she finally knew what she wanted. But I couldn't let her rewrite the story. No, you only know what you want because your other option collapsed. Alex didn't solve your money problems. So now you're running back to the man who paid your bills while you figure out your feelings. She broke down. That's not fair. But I knew what was fair. What wasn't fair was you vanishing twice a week. What wasn't fair was being told I was controlling for asking simple questions. What wasn't fair was realizing I was subsidizing your dates with another man. Her voice cracked, begging for another chance. People make mistakes. Don't I deserve the chance to make it right? I shook my head. You had chances. Every time I tried to talk, you shut me down. You made your choices, Emma. Now you get to live with them. The following weekend, I moved out. She scrambled to find a roommate, someone newly divorced, looking for a temporary place. It bought her time, but not much. On my last day, she tried one final time, standing in the doorway as I packed. We could start over. Fresh apartment, better communication, clean slate. But she still didn't get it. Emma, this isn't about communication. It's about trust, about respect. You've shown me that when things get comfortable, you look for exits. You show me that lying and manipulating come easier to you than honesty. That doesn't get fixed with a new address. She whispered, but I love you. Maybe you do, I told her, but you don't respect me. And I can't build a life with someone who doesn't respect me. That was 3 months ago. Now I'm in my own place. It's smaller, but it's mine. No split bills. No wondering where my partner is twice a week. No financing someone else's double life. Through mutual friends, I heard Emma's roommate moved out after 2 months. She couldn't afford the place alone. She moved back in with her parents, picked up a second job, started clawing her way out of credit card debt. And Alex? Turns out he was married all along. His wife found Emma's number and made the call that ended their fantasy. Emma has tried reaching out. Long texts, apologies, requests to talk. She even showed up at my apartment once, but I didn't answer. And the truth is, I'm not angry anymore. I understand why she did it. She wanted independence, excitement, a backup plan. She thought she could have both without consequence. But life doesn't work like that. Actions echo. Choices catch up. She wanted to live like a single woman, so I let her. She wanted options, so I removed myself as one. She wanted privacy, so I gave her space. And in doing that, I learned something too. I deserve better than being somebody's safety net. I deserve a partner who chooses me loudly, not someone who keeps me in their back pocket in case Plan A falls apart. The last text she sent was just 2 weeks ago. I miss you. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I've changed. I'm in therapy. I understand now. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty, but because there's nothing left to say. Our story split the moment she chose an escape route. And I finally chose myself. Emma wanted freedom. Options. Escape routes. I wanted something entirely different. Commitment, trust, partnership. 2 people walking side by side, building something together. Those visions don't fit together. And the truth is that's okay. We just weren't meant to want the same kind of love. Some people ask if I was too harsh. Cut her off when she couldn't afford her apartment anymore. But I never saw it as punishment. It wasn't about revenge. It was about boundaries. Why should I keep paying for a lifestyle that excluded me? She wanted independence. She wanted privacy. So I let her have it. If she wanted to live single, then she could live single. The fact that she couldn't afford that life, that wasn't my problem to solve, especially when my money was helping fund nights out with another man. There's a big difference between financial abuse and self-respect. Abuse is control, blocking access to money, forcing dependence, taking power away. What I did was simple. I refused to keep financing someone who lied to me, who cheated on me, who treated our relationship like a backup plan. She had her own job, her own paycheck. She could have lived within her means, but she didn't want within her means. She wanted everything: independence, security, freedom, and me footing the bill. Looking back, the real problem was how differently we defined us. I thought we were building a life. She thought we were roommates splitting bills. Neither version is wrong. But when you don't agree on the story you're writing together, the whole script falls apart. If she had been upfront from the start, I could have made my choice. But instead, she wore the mask of commitment while living the life of someone still single. Now, things are different. I'm with Sarah. She's a teacher, makes about what Emma did. But the difference is night and day. With Sarah, there's no guessing. No half-truths. We split expenses fairly. We talk about where we're going, who we're with. And when she says she's committed, she means it. There's no foot hovering out the door, no secret escape plan. That kind of clarity changes everything. People might still think I was cold, maybe even vindictive, but I don't see it that way. Emma wanted the perks of being single, while holding on to the benefits of a relationship. All I did was let her live the way she claimed she wanted. Independence goes both ways. Respect does too. And the irony? Once the safety net was gone, Emma suddenly discovered communication. She sent me timelines, explanations, apologies. Every detail spelled out as if she could rewrite the past. But it was too late. Some bridges, once burned, aren't meant to be rebuilt. I've moved on, started building new bridges with someone who actually wants to walk across them with me. And Emma? She's left learning to build her own, without expecting someone else to carry her weight. But the story didn't end there. Last week, she showed up again. Hair unwashed, eyes swollen from crying. Clothes I remember from our old closet. She looked wrecked. The first words out her mouth, "Please, just 5 minutes. I'm begging you." And for a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. "Emma," I said, "we've been through this. There's nothing left to say." But she shook her head, hands trembling. "There is. I lost my job. My parents kicked me out. I'm crashing on a friend's couch, but she's done with me. I have nowhere else." Alex won't answer. "My friends are tired of me. You're the only one who ever cared." Her voice cracked, breaking apart in front of me. And I stood there torn. Part of me remembering the girl I loved. Part of me remembering the nights I stayed awake wondering where she was. "Emma, you can't do this," I said softly. "You can't treat someone like garbage and then come back only when you need saving. That's not love. That's not partnership." She sobbed, nodding through the tears. I know I was terrible. I lied. I cheated. I manipulated. But I've lost everything. Isn't that enough punishment?" And that's when I realized she wasn't asking for forgiveness. She was asking for rescue. And those are not the same thing. Part of me wanted to reach out, to save her, to hold on to the girl I once thought I'd spend my life with. But then it hit me. Those nights she laughed at me for simply asking where she was going. The way she called me controlling for wanting the bare minimum of communication. The way she let another man buy her flowers and dinners while I paid the rent that kept her comfortable. And the cruelest truth of all, she only decided she loved me when her backup plan collapsed. "Emma," I said quietly, "you didn't lose everything because life punished you. You lost it because of choices. You chose to lie. You chose to cheat, emotionally, if not worse. You chose to spend money you didn't have, trying to impress a man who never cared. None of that was an accident. Those were decisions." Her voice broke, desperate. "But I can change. I have changed. I'm different now." I shook my head. "You're not different. You're desperate. That's not the same thing. If you won the lottery tomorrow or had a line of wealthy men waiting at your door, would you still be standing here begging me? She couldn't answer, and her silence told me everything. I hope you figure things out, I said softly. I hope you find stability, get back on your feet. But I can't be your solution. That's on you now. Her mascara streaked as she whispered, "So that's it? After everything we had, you're just going to let me be homeless?" I met her eyes. "I'm not letting you be anything, Emma. You're an adult. You made your choices. You wanted independence, remember? You told me you didn't need to answer to me about your life. Well, this is what independence looks like." She stood there another moment, tears shaking her shoulders, staring at me like I was the villain of her story. And then she turned, stumbling down the hall, her sobs echoing until the door clicked shut behind her. I leaned against that door, feeling two things at once. Sadness for the person she could have been, and relief for finally knowing I wasn't her safety net anymore. An hour later, my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Are you okay?" Apparently Emma had tried calling her, begging her to change my mind. Sarah told her no, told her to reach out to local resources if she needed housing. That was 2 days ago. Since then, silence. And if she tries again, I won't be answering. Because here's the truth. Actions have consequences. If someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And if they tell you they don't owe you honesty about where they go at night, make sure they can afford to go there on their own dime. Sometimes the people who claim they don't need you the most are the ones who end up needing you the most.